helping people out, helping folks with their solutions, and she's going to be here on the call today. Why? Well, Integromat is a key part of the solution that Maurice has built to help him organize this festival, get the bands and the artists up on stage, and kind of manage the whole process from application to organization in the back end. You're going to be hearing a lot about these tools and Integromat and how they all fit together. It's going to be fantastic if you're organizing events, if you're involved in the music industry, if you're basically involved in bookings and taking payments. You're going to find this very, very useful. So why are we here with Maurice? Well, he had a problem in his head. He basically had spreadsheets whizzing around up in his brain because he was trying to organize the whole thing very manually with spreadsheets. And what he decided was enough is enough. I'm going to automate this. And he compares it to Mickey Mouse in the Sorcerer's Apprentice, where he gets the brooms kind of working for him, doing all the jobs and the chores for him so he can free up time for himself. I don't know what Mickey Mouse did in his free time. I don't know what Maurice does in his free time, but I do know that it's a fantastic solution. So we're going to hear more about it now. Let's start by finding out more about M for Montreal. So we'll whiz back in time to the interview that we did, where Maurice will give us a little introduction as to what the conference is.
The event is mostly composed of showcases, panels, and networking activities. And of course, everything is orchestrated around the music industry. So we have sellers and we have buyers. And well, for the showcases, we do have in regular times about 120 showcases running around all the city in different bars. So international come to Montreal, see the showcases, and also get the chance to visit the city. And then they go to some networking activities and they meet some of the artist representatives. Now, the whole concept of why I'm here is because we need to make a call for artists every year. And the call for artists is like this opportunity for local artists to get a chance to have some visibility and maybe get exported. As a delegate coordinator, I need to make sure that I need to arrange travel and lodging for our guests and their accreditation. And also I need to manage the invitation process. So all of that led me to working a lot with spreadsheets and to finding a way of a process to take one guest and put him in a pipeline all the way from the invitation process to the accreditation process to the point where he gets his schedule. And through this process, I have to go through many different forms. I have to collect information from our guests. I have to collect pictures, bio, contact information, sometimes travel information for me to book the flight. So I had to go through forms. And at one point, also I have to put everything in a database or in a spreadsheet and then be able to carry out my process all the way to the end. And I kind of worked first with Excel and a good old-fashioned drop-down menu with different statuses, and a couple of rows, couple of formulas. That worked well, but it was a lot of back and forth, and I really had to. I was thinking about my spreadsheet every day, and the spreadsheet was in my head, and I had to free myself from this. So I needed to find peace of mind. And at one point I saw Airtable. I'm like, oh, what's that? Interesting. So that really helped me out, to switch from Excel to Airtable, because Airtable was able to link also with forms, right? And then I'm like, okay, great. That's good for collecting information. But then I need also to get them registered on the ticketing system, and et cetera, et cetera. So all of that led me to thinking about all the platforms out there that existed. And basically I built a whole process for my guests, for the guest on Airtable, and then at one point I had another mission which was the call for artists. And then I'm like, call for artists. I want to be able to have all my artists in my database on Airtable. I want to be able to collect information, collect payments. I want to be able to automate some processes. And then I saw how Airtable would be able to connect with different things like Typeform and Integromat as well. And I'm like, okay, let's try to cook something up,
So Maurice hit the kitchen and started cooking, and this is what he rustled up. So this is his solution, which he built out using the Typeform to kind of collect applications, and then connecting that to Integromat, which then connects up to Stripe to send the receipt, Airtable, which manages the database of applicants, and then Mailchimp for handling the communications. I'm not going to go into loads of detail because we're going to hear from Maurice in a second. So let's start with the Typeform. Maurice is going to walk us through the application Typeform that I just mentioned and explain to us how that works. So over to him.
So as you see, I have my call for artists, my French and my English form. So I'll go with the English form. By the way, I didn't really spend too much time on the design. I took what was there, and the team is very happy with what it was. So I didn't spend too much time remaking the backgrounds and the colors,
Yeah. So you take that's one of the templates, right? But you've added
exactly
your own logo.
Yeah. I use one of your templates and I use my logo on top of it. So as you see, I have began the form with my hidden fields. So I'm using the hidden field function because I like to know where my answers are coming from, what form, and also instead of having to manually organize my responses by tags in my database where they end up, they're already automatically tagged right in from the source with those hidden fields. So I have a tag called source, which is basically going to be Typeform, group, which is going to be basically my responses from the call for artist form, and project, which is basically my 2021 project. Okay. So every response will be tagged with these three elements, and this way I'll be able to organize and the data later on. Now, I always begin with, of course, what is the artist's name? And I go through a series of questions that has to do with production. So how many musicians are on stage? What's the musical style? The main language? And availabilities with yes or no questions. And basically, I try to identify the place of residence of the artist, the country, the province for Canada only. And basically, I narrow things down to what is the primary contact for the application. And I use conditional logic when we go to the part where, before I go there, we ask about a couple of soundtracks for three soundtracks to have our jury evaluate the band. We ask him a bit of a short description, so we have it ahead of time. So let's say they are selected, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about them. And then we go into the distribution section. If they have a record label, if yes, which ones. We ask them for a photo to upload because the selected artist will be then showcased on our website as well. I'll show you that later. And of course, as I was saying, this is a springboard event. It's a music conference. It's for the music industry. It's not necessarily a festival for people to go see music. It's more something for buyers and sellers in the music industry. So we could call them concerts, but they're basically showcases, right? So, and those artists want to showcase for a specific crowd. We have in the crowd of the people we invite different types. We have presenters, booking agents, music publishers, music supervisors. Everybody's going after the music supervisors because surprisingly or not, a lot of the money for artists doesn't come from live performances, but comes in from, let's say, an ad, and they have their music on the ad, or a movie and they have the soundtrack on a movie, or even a video game and they have a little soundtrack of the video game. So that's all the thing that they call A&R. The territories they wish to develop primarily. So you see we're going into the business side of things. And that's the question, where is the artist or group distributed? And if they say yes or no, well, we send this data to our partner, who is actually Believe. And as you see, there's a little visibility thing. We asked them, hey, are you distributed, yes or no? And did you know that you could get a 50% discount on your next album release? Click here to get it now. Boom. If they want, they click. If they don't, they hit next. And there we can we have a conditional logic where I ask them, do you have a promo code? Because it's a paying call for artists form. So people need to pay for their application. But some of the artists, we give them a code because we've selected them ahead of time. And I had to find a way to make him skip the payment step. So I basically used the promo code question. If they answer yes, well, I asked them, what's your promo code? And I had fun putting a little robot here. And so they enter their code. And if the answer is right, they skip. Okay, so if I click on my logic jump here, I have a few codes. So I had given a few codes. So I had Mikey 21. He's at 21. Who's 21? And Poo Poo. Well, you know, I'm stupid when it comes to passwords and codes. And basically, as you see, if any of those codes were entered, the person would then jump to the last question. Thank you. We have received your application, and wouldn't have to pay. And otherwise, it would go to the registration page where they would have to pay. So basically, we go there. And if they didn't have the code, bang, $45. And then that's where it's interesting because I find the integration very cool with Stripe, but I don't understand why they don't automate the receipt, or why don't they ask a mandatory email, or why don't they take the email from the form? So basically, I had to like hack it a bit, right?
So yeah, as Maurice mentioned, he had to hack it because within the native integration in Typeform, you're not able to send receipts via Stripe. So he had to find another way, and he turned to Integromat. Now, Integromat is a tool that allows you to connect Typeform to pretty much any online service and automate all kinds of tasks and processes. So Michaela obviously was interested in finding out how he discovered Integromat. So let's hear.
I understand why you realize that you need, automation in your life, because it just makes everything so much easier, and it just clears your mind and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you have any other experience with automation apart from Integromat, and how did you actually decide to go with us?
When I need an answer, I look and I make an effort in looking, and I don't stop at the first answer. So
that's perfect.
I got a range of different search results, and I started to funnel things to the best solution, the one where I could trust also the company, because there's many companies out there, but giving my API key is not something that I'll just give away that easily. Even though if I'm a no coder, I understand one thing is that my data I got to trust who I'm working with. And that's also one thing that everybody worries about, that doesn't touch, my supervisors, my managers. They want to know, okay, well, who are we giving this information to? What is this third-party application? How long have they been running? What's their notoriety, So that was one thing I had to analyze before choosing. And then the second one was basically looking through the internet and looking at all the different case scenarios and people talking about the products out there. I stopped to Integromat because I thought it was the one that was how did he say that, the one with the most possibilities. And also, I really like the customer service, and the support was amazing. Also, I really like the interface of Integromat because it's very visual. It's basically a critical path. And I really like the platform because it took me not even a day to do it.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the scenario then, and the solution that Maurice came up with to connect Typeform with Stripe to send the invoices. So yeah, we're going to have Maurice now explain how that works.
So the concept here and the idea is that I'm listening for a succeeded charge from Stripe with a webhook. And as soon as a charge is succeeded, I take the response ID of the form, the type form, and the form ID of the type form. Because what's interesting is that when a transaction is made with your Stripe integration with Typeform, the response ID and the form ID are pushed to Stripe with the charge, which is good because it enables me basically to listen for any succeeded charge, grab the ID response and the form the ID form, do a search/list response. And because I have two different forms, I have a form in English and I have a form in French. So basically I'm going to use the router to search any English form with the same ID response and to search any type form in French with the same ID response. And if there's a match, then I say, if the response ID is the same than the succeeded charge, you see, because on the succeeded charge from Stripe, I do have the ID response. So if the ID response from my Stripe is the same as the one from my Typeform, grab the email from the form and the artist name and update the payment with the name of the artist and add into the description of the charge call for artists. Well, there it's in English and in French because, Quebec. And update the receipt email with the email of the artist representative from the Typeform. And by doing that, Stripe sends a nice receipt by email to the to the artist rep, and also all my payments are clearly identified by artist name. So you see, I can see all my call for artists with the artist name next to it, and which is cool. Let's say I take any one, and then I can see here the metadata, which is basically my Typeform ID and my response ID. This is really what was crucial for my scenario to work. If I didn't have that, I don't know how I would have done it. And basically here you can see that the receipt has been sent to the artist rep, and I have a nice receipt with my logo. I love it. It's great.
Impressive, right? Well, Maurice hasn't stopped there. He's connected Typeform as well to Mailchimp and Airtable for even more automation within that call for artist form. So let's see how he's used these native integrations with Typeform to drive data and communications to the artists and also internally to stakeholders within the company.
So as you see, I'm using the connection of Mailchimp as well, because we basically need to register all the people on our mailing list, because that's where they get the information for, like, hey, the festival is going to start soon. All the communications, and their strategy, getting the applications email to their mailing list is also required. So that little integration is really cool. That worked super well for us. And you see, I have Airtable as well. And Airtable, basically, that's where I manage all my talent. As you see, I have collected a lot of them for M. Now the thing is closed. But how many we have? 253, which is not bad. The information we collect from Typeform is basically for our jury to select the artist or not. So the main goal here is to collect for each artist different links so the jury can listen to it, see the musical style, country, okay, and videos, and then he can make his selection. And it's either yes, in consideration, or no, okay? And from this selection, I have automations to send no, or to send yes, you've been selected.
And Maurice went on to explain even more automations and crazy stuff that he's doing with Airtable, which is fantastic. And maybe we'll put this up as a separate post sometime, because there's too much good juicy stuff to cram in here. One thing's for sure is he's really happy with the solution, and so are the stakeholders. So we asked him how people internally feel about the solution, and this is his answer.
Oh, they love it. They love it, especially the programming manager now. He gets really the feel of, like, okay, what's coming in? You saw my Airtable. So it's very easy to, like, go through the process of listening to the artist, having a little preview, because in Airtable you have the possibility to preview the URL links. So he can instantly preview the video clips. He's got like it's really easy to process all the data. It's almost like a joyride, you know?
Yeah.
When things are appetizing, you want to eat them. Data is like food. If it's appetizing, if it's well presented, you want it.
Data as food is a fantastic analogy, and Maurice had another one as well. So just to wrap up, let's hear from Maurice about how he views no-code tools.
When you have the possibility to link the information and to have it in a pipeline where it's just going to go from point A to point B without you having to cross-reference spreadsheets, manually link things together, hit send, thousands of clicks, maybe a good 2 hours per day. Because
that's amazing.
Otherwise, I would have to, like, see all the registration come in. Okay, start linking them. All of the processes like selection, sending the receipt, tagging them with the right tags. Oh, this is for the call for artists. This is for another project. Oh, this is from Typeform. This is from another database. All of that. If it's not automated, it's by hands. It's basically helped us move on from the spreadsheet and the manual entering and the manual linking to the automation of linking data together, the automation of sending a receipt, tagging something. It's a beauty. I actually compare it to, that episode in Fantasia with Mickey Mouse, the Sorcerer apprentice, I think.
Yeah. I've seen it, yeah.
And it's really it. I feel like this newbie who has found this little magical wand, and then I'm like, hey, I could save some time with all these brooms, and then all the brooms start cleaning up,
So a huge thank you to Maurice for being such a great guest, sharing all that information, the juicy insights, the amazing analogies. It's been fantastic. Thanks, Maurice. And good luck with everything. If you're interested in finding out more about M for Montreal, we'll put the link in the community post. You can check it out if you're interested in attending. If you're in Montreal, go along. Also check out Integromat. Again, we'll post the link. It's a fantastic way to connect Typeform to all your other tools, as you've just seen. Also, if you're interested in more Workspace Invaders, just head over to the community on Typeform. We've got a ton of them. So again, we'll post a link up here. Go check them out. There's a huge range of different use cases there, of people kind of sharing stuff that they're doing with Typeform that's helping their business and allowing them to kind of connect up other tools as well. So it's fantastic. If you are interested in being the next superstar that we unearth in Workspace Invaders, then please submit your story here, and we'll get back to you. And if you're a fit, then you could be appearing here very soon. So with that, I'll say thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks again to Maurice and to Michaela for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Who will it be? That was a weird noise. Sorry, I won't do that again on the next one. Thanks a lot. Cheers and take care.